Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Stack. We are CTMS. With me today is Savannah and Justin. And Savannah is going to be our moderator today. And we're going to talk about a couple great topics. So, Savannah, let's fire away.
Our first topic here today is shadow work in the modern business and discussing which processes should be automated but aren't. So I'll start with Rick. What types of time wasting tasks are most common in today's businesses? And why do so many of these manual processes go unnoticed or unchallenged?
Shadow work, a lot of people don't even know what that is. And we've been dealing with it for a long time, really ever since technology, started creeping into the business place. So, shadow work is that work you do after work or when you're trying to relax at home with your family or you're on your lunch break. You never put down your device. You're always working, right? And you're not getting maybe paid for that or compensated, or you're not on the clock. So it's work that it just keeps creeping up on you. And a lot of people don't even know what it is because we're so conditioned with our devices now and all the technology that's available. So technology could help us with that, I think. What do you think?
I would probably agree wholeheartedly. Um, Automation in general is right now, I believe, the key to success. And when you're dealing with shadow work, um, people don't have that separation between their personal life and their business life. And then as you're kind of like evolving, you have this hybrid work where people are working from home, they're working here, and there's no like separation. So like the more you can automate these little pieces of minutia of constant work, you're able to kind of free up some time for your friends and family.
Exactly, exactly. And through the shadow work space in this world that we live in now, because companies are either making cuts or they're giving the top producers or the executive branch more work to do, and you're running out of time. You're running out of personal time. Your quality of life can go down. So there's a few things that technology could help us on. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Going into that as well, what are some telltale signs of shadow work that you guys may have seen in operations and sales?
Constantly answering emails
That's
nonstop, right? Or text messages. You really, with technology that's here now. AI. You hear chat, GPT. It's here. It's not coming. So now we have to integrate all that technology into our business worlds, right? So when you see, you could feel the fatigue, right? Especially if you're an executive in a company or a top producing salesperson. Um, you start getting frustrated and down. So we've already developed many answers to this problem within our company at CTMS, and now we're getting ready to deploy these tools out there in the marketplace.
Do you ever get like phantom rings or like phantom
Yeah, in your leg.
vibrations? Oh my gosh. Like I probably 100 times a day, I'm like checking my pocket.
Yeah.
Like, is it going off? Is it going off? Because you're conditioned to just
Hmm.
constantly be seeing what's coming up in the next thing over and over. Especially in sales, when the email goes off, could be a sale.
Yep.
So you got to look at it, right? Same thing happens when you're, especially in technology. These people are working nonstop, sometimes after hours, overnight. They're constantly having to monitor systems, check if systems are up or not. And with technology now where it's at, you're able to get these alerts more intelligently delivered and actually have some kind of alignment coming to them with some strategic action points we can go after.
Yeah, and a couple examples on how technology could help. It could automate administrative tasks. It could do a lot of that for you. You could use chat, but my daughter calls it chatty. She always asks chatty to write something for her. And we could do that as leaders of companies and salespeople, even down to whatever position in the company. That technology now, you don't have a subject matter expert next to you or a boss or a supervisor. You have the world next to you now with chat. And I think that's like really cool.
Into the next question for you guys, which you kind of touched on with how CTMS identifies and prioritizes these tasks and how we use ChatGPT. to help automate some processes and make time back in our daily schedules. Um, how do businesses identify and prioritize hidden tasks for automation? For Rick, how would you say that you go in your daily work schedule with automating hidden tasks that you see in your job?
It's a great question. There's really a lot of ways. One of them is in the morning when I look at a calendar and I see what meetings are coming up. Well, a lot of those things I don't know really what that subject is. Some things I'm meeting with an outside vendor or an engineer within our company. So I have to learn, it's that pre-call salesperson in me, right? Learn before you talk. So I go right into chat and I start learning before I even have that conversation. So now I could ask relevant questions during that meeting so I get the most output of that meeting so we don't have to go backwards and ask more questions.
On top of that, Justin, how do you recognize where over automation in some of your daily tasks can do more harm than good?
So I would say that automation's really, really good, but if you leave automation unchecked, couple examples would be you automate a report to go out to the top level execs that is supposed to be, divvying up information, parsing it, and presenting it in a certain way to the shareholders or something. If that goes out to them unchecked, just with mechanisms that are in place to automate, um, what if you send the wrong things and all of a sudden they just lay off the whole half the company because you send them the wrong numbers?
Right.
So that's something that could really hinder when you leave automation unchecked. Also, like even because you're using either ChatGPT or Gemini or any of these other LLM models, you need to understand that it's only going to give you back what you're putting into it. It's more of like a mere reflection of what you're asking. So you really have to articulate the prompt sections in there to have certain classifications of a prompt so that way it understands how you want that information delivered to you. And it has to kindly be constantly massaged in order to get the output that you're really trying to get.
I agree. I think it's important to utilize ChatGPT and all that it has to offer, but I also think it's important that we are proofreading what we are sending out and not just doing a copy paste, kind of making that your own work. Sometimes ChatGPT is wrong as it is still learning with us every day.
Another point I was going to bring up is we have to be leery of devaluing our critical thinking abilities, because if you just use it to get the end result answers and you're not understanding, that's like cheating on a test. You don't really know the subject matter. So it's really important that, yes, it's good to get the quick answer, but if you really don't understand how you arrived at that answer, just like in a math class, you have to kind of go back a little bit and research it. And that's kind of where chat comes in even more so. It's like, hey, well, how did you get this answer? Show me your reasoning behind this. And it kind of gives you feedback. So you're actually learning. I actually use it like reading a book. So
It's a tool, and you
absolutely.
need to use it as a tool.
Absolutely. Very powerful tool.
Segueing into our next topic is the human and machine collaboration and how automation is redefining roles and work today. Justin, how do you think job roles are changing as automation becomes more common?
Well, I think I mentioned it a little bit before, but with upskilling, essentially every job that can be automated in this world right now we're living in is going to start slowly being automated. Anything that could be processed down in an SOP or anything in kind of a framework is going to be able to automate. So it's really important for people to understand how to utilize these tools to their benefit, as opposed to being scared of it or thinking it's not going to come to fruition, because unfortunately I have news for everybody. It's here right now. So I think as people evolve, they need to not be scared to learn. People sometimes are afraid of technology, but as we've seen through technology throughout the years, people adapt, jobs augment, new jobs form, other jobs fall off, and it's really just up to us as a species, really, to understand what's coming down the pipe and get help at where we see fit.
Yeah, and AI, it's really, as we talked about earlier, it's a tool. It accomplishes tasks or requests to make the human side of it easier. So you have your AI technology, that's all it is. Think of it as a robot, if you will, because it sort of is. But you can't replace the human side of it. The human side of it is where you collaborate and you think and you sit like we are and we have discussions and, you bring it to life. Really, AI is nothing without humans.
With humans and discussing job loss with AI and process automations, how should leaders approach the perception that automating processes will lead to job loss?
Hmm. Well, one, I can't say that it's not going to create some job loss for some employers that are not forward thinking. It's way harder to hire new employees than it is to retain and
Mhm.
train your current employees. So it's probably more important for the leadership team to understand how it's going to impact their business, and then they could start sending their people to trainings or getting a certificate or something like that to kind of understand the next level of the evolution of AI and how we're going to interface in the future. I mean, right now it's everywhere. It's nonstop. It's in every single ad that you have. People are coming in with every new technology. They're adding on a co-pilot from Microsoft or Gemini from Google or Chat, obviously ChatGPT, OpenAI is and everything.
Well, it's really reshaping the workforce. It's really what it's doing. So, current employers need to look at their team and say, okay, this is reshaping our workflow. It's reshaping the sales process. How could we use this technology and then to train you, being the salesperson or the manager, on how to grasp what benefits AI gives.
Yeah, I think don't think like Terminator-ish, like it's us against them. Like so everybody tries to pair this against them, right against left, all this other stuff. Think of it as a collaboration where you're going to be utilizing this tool to better accelerate your life and do things more that are more redundant or mundane for
Right.
you. So you have more time for that leisure time or to actually get your job done and be more efficient.
Yep.
Definitely. I think the hardest part is getting started and learning how to use AI and being afraid that it may replace you and replace your job. But it's important to know that it's there to help you while it can't do your job entirely. And it won't take away that human aspect that you offer. It will help you bring time back in your day and help you when you need some ideas or just generating an email, whatever that may be, creating meeting notes, etc. I think it's a good tool to use in your everyday, and it's just a matter of getting started with using it and becoming comfortable with it. But knowing that it's a partner and not someone who's working against you, I think
Right.
that's the most important thing to remember.
Right.
Yeah, and think about this. It doesn't have empathy, right? AI doesn't have empathy. It's unless it's programmed to have that, which is not real empathy. There's no contextual background that's going to be around to encapsulate what this decision is. So it's important that humans work with the machine in order to have a collaborative approach to evolve together.
Going into that next question, which you almost answered it for us, where do you think humans still outperform machines, AI, and what skills should employees develop to stay relevant and to stay needed in their workplace?
Boy, both of us know that answer.
Go ahead.
Being in sales, um, relationship selling is really the most important part of the selling process. So you could have all the technology in the world, and if you don't form a relationship with somebody, technology is worthless. So you really have to do both. And salespeople, it's a sort of a lost art, right? Um, Technology sort of pulled back the sales professional, and they hid behind their computers. And Justin and I, we like going out and talking to people, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we are good at what we do. We go out there and we create these relationships, and then we introduce the technology on how it could help them be more efficient.
You could send a proposal to somebody in an email and have it the most eloquently written email by the most popular author, and there's still not going to be anything that's going to replace walking up to somebody and looking them in the eye and saying, "I got your back," and giving them a firm handshake, and they understand that I want to go with them. That you can't replace that. A machine can't do that.
No, and COVID proved that.
Absolutely, everybody kind of went buck because I know I could not stand
Yeah,
sitting at
we're
home.
cage animals.
It's like the worst. I was literally eating outside of restaurants, just sitting out there by myself because I was so bored.
Yeah. Well, and now when we're going to events, you see the excitement on people. They know they have to retool their skill set to get back into talking to people.
Proper communication is becoming a lost art that I think that if you are able to use AI and not hide behind it, use it to influence some of your topics that you're discussing and evolve your communication skills, that's what's going to help. But if you just let it do all the communication for you, which is to your point a while back about where you need to check AI, you can't have it do everything for you. You have to have that piece, because without that piece and that trust, that's how you're going to lose clients. You're going to lose family members because there's no real connection. There's a reason why it's called a human connection.
Human
I
intelligence.
That's right.
what you were saying about empathy as well. Empathy um, can't be put in AI, and AI can't reciprocate empathy towards customers, rapport as well, and then also the relationship building aspect. It can do the logistics, but you're right, it can't. I think sales and humans, they go hand in hand, and humans are gonna be needed in sales every single day.
Yep. And to go back to your question, for those who could master that, who could take the relationship side and the technology side, you will be very successful.
I had a guy telling me about his AI experience and how he couldn't get the output from ChatGPT that he was requesting, and his wife could. And I was like, well, what do you do? And he's like, well, I'm a financial advisor. I parse numbers, I get deals done and everything like that. I was like, well, what does she do? And she's like, well, she's an English teacher. I was like, well, I could tell you exactly why she's getting a better output, because she knows how to communicate effectively and knows how to go through a proper paragraph to ask this chatbot what to do. And you're just going, here's a number, give me the number, fix it. There's no context to it. You have to involve the context from you in order for it to understand what you want.
Yep.
That's all we have for today. Thank you both, Rick and Justin, for joining us and answering those questions for us. It was a lot of insight.
Absolutely.
We hope all of you enjoyed this podcast. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode on Beyond the Stack.